Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day from Columbia University, the greatest university in the world. I just finished my doctoral class here at Columbia University, and I thought I should talk to you directly to share two things, two important things, and to remind you that today is the day to fall in love. Fall in love with two things. If you are a student, you have to fall in love with education, because it goes both ways. If you fall in love with education, the education also fall in love with you. That happens with me. I fell in love with education. And education fell in love with me. So it's kind of like both sides of the same coin. If education will not fall in love with you unless you fall in love with education. So as a student, you should remember today is a day to fall in love with education. I remember about 20 years ago, around 2000, I fell in love with education. I was a security guard. I was nobody. When I told people, my other security colleague, that I wanted to become professor here in the United States, they said you are crazy. They said you are completely crazy. You have no idea how difficult it is to become professor. And I refuse to accept their hypothesis. I refuse to accept their notion. I knew that it would be difficult, because to become professor in any country is difficult, and to become professor here in America is absolutely difficult, because this is a top country, and New York is the toppest city in the world. So I knew that becoming professor is not an easy job, but I also know that if you can dream it, you can do it. So my dream 20 years ago to become a professor here in the United States, and I had nothing, not even GED, not even a high school diploma. So what I did, I started studying for GED, and I passed GED, and then I launched. I fell in love with education, and as a security guard. I worked 15 years as a security guard, and I earned 5 bachelor's degree in five different subjects from different university, from different American university. 5 bachelor's degree while working as a security. I made that possible. Because of course the help from my wife, but also I fell in love with education. So today is the day to fall in love with education, and I urge you to fall in love with education here from Columbia University, the greatest university, top university in the world, where more than 100 people won the Nobel Prize from this university. It's a great university. President Obama studied here, so many presidents studied here, so many Nobel laureates studied here, over 100 people won the Nobel Prize here. So I'm asking you to fall in love with math and science here from Columbia University. And if you are married like me, then you have to fall in love with your wife. It goes both ways. If you fall in love with your wife fall in love with you. Don't forget that. If you fall in love with your wife fall in love with you. So let me tell you a story how that happens with me. I fell in love with my wife, and my wife fell in love with me. When I was a security guard, I had almost no money. We used to be starving. So little money that I couldn't even buy food. Forget about paying tuition. So my wife had an idea. So she used to cut my hair to allow me to save as little as $10. As when you are a poor man, $10 is a big deal. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, $10 was a big deal. Now I make lots of money. This year I made almost $100,000 just by teaching as a teacher from New York City government. So teaching pays up. Education pays up. That's what I meant to say. And fall in love with education is the most important thing. And if you are married, then fall in love with your wife. That's the most important thing, because it goes both ways. If you fall in love with your wife, your wife fall in love with you, and that makes it better, because your life makes your life become more meaningful. Everything become more meaningful. Everything become beautiful. So I'm asking you from Columbia University to do two things. If you are a student, you fall in love with education. If you are married, if you are a husband, fall in love with your wife. Of course, you have to fall in love with your children as well. Fall in love with your children, then it goes both ways. Then the children will fall in love with you. Remember, there is two sides in a coin. And I told you my story. Because of my wife, I was able to earn 5 bachelor's degree, 2 masters, and get into a PhD program as a security guard. I don't know any other person, any other security guard accomplished so much. Because when you are a security guard, it's impossible, because the society is structured in a way that it's very difficult to overcome the barriers. But if you fall in love, you can do it, because nothing is stronger than love. Who can separate you if you fall in love with math and science? There is no strong force in the universe that can block your success if you fall in love with math and science. Happy Valentine's Day from Columbia University, the #1 university in the world.